Hi everybody, Ira Bruce with Independent News Network and INN as we like to call it, no relation to CNN, and we like to say that we're in the know. So today, just want to do a short video today about parties, political parties, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Because one of my colleagues here kind of told me about something about what George Washington said in his departure speech. And we want to go to that real quick, and then we're going to talk about this on the other end. So let's go ahead and go right to that. All right, so as you can see, we're kind of up here. Let's go down a little bit. So what this is George Washington's Mount Vernon, and this was his departure speech. So let's read along at what George Washington had to say. However, political parties may now and then answer popular ends. They are likely in the course of time and things to become potent engines, which we know they are today, by which cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men will be enabled to subvert the power of the people and to usurp for themselves the reins of government, destroying afterwards the very engines which have lifted them to unjust dominion. Does that not sound like, now this was done in 1796, his farewell address, September 17th, 1796. Does that not sound like 2022 to you today? Editorial notes. Washington is warning the American people against the negative impact that opposing political parties could have on the country. Republicans, Democrats, opposing political parties could have on the country. During his presidency, he witnessed the rise of the Democratic Republican Party in opposition to the Federalists and worried that future political squabbles would undermine the concept of popular sovereignty in the United States. So, so you would think after watching this that George Washington had a crystal ball. Right? Because this is exactly what we have today. And to me, as an independent voter, not belonging to the Republican Party, not belonging to the Democratic Party, folks, there's nothing in the Constitution that says we should have opposing political parties. That, to me, is what is destroying this country. And then on top of the political parties, you have all of these congressmen who kind of just run pretty much unopposed and getting rich by being in a seat, in the Senate seat or the House seat. You see all these people getting rich by just, I believe their salary is somewhere around $180,000 a year, but these are multimillionaires, and they weren't that way before they got into the Senate or the Congress, the House of Representatives. But now you look at some of them, Nancy Pelosi is so rich, even Lindsey Graham is, I believe, he's like, I can't even remember, I did in an earlier video, how rich Lindsey Graham is. But I think it's around $100 million or something crazy. There is something wrong with politicians getting rich by being in power, right? So, and you have all these lobbyists. First of all, in my opinion, I don't know how it could ever happen, but only in the fact that if we, the American people, all become independents. If we all just go ahead and shed our political affiliation, and that's what we need to do as an American people. We need to shed our political affiliation We all need to become independents and then vote our conscience. Because right now, this country is split right down the middle. Republicans on one side, Democrats on another side. Us independent voters, we are the ones that make or break an election. Believe it. And that's why I've started this YouTube channel. I want to put the fear of God in Republicans and Democrats to know there is an active movement in independent voters that they're going to have to pay attention to, because we're the ones that are going to say whether or not who gets into power. And so as an independent voter, we need to go ahead and be conscious of who we are putting into office. It is our responsibility, even if Republicans aren't going to do it, if they're not going to research their candidates, we need to be the responsible party to do the research, do the work, and we need to go ahead and elect the best person for the job. And it's going to be our elections, our votes, our power that's going to put people in place. And let's not just be lemmings and just follow whatever the trend is or follow how many ads that we've seen on TV. Because like I've said in the past, you have people like George Soros, Mark Zuckerberg that are sticking hundreds of millions of dollars into the political system to run ads to try to influence our vote. And if the Republicans and Democrats aren't going to do it, if they're not going to be responsible, and if they're not going to not be swayed by political ads or signs that you see in people's yards, we as the independent voter need to be the responsible ones to make sure that we do our job and we do the research and we elect the people who are going to be best for us, we the people, the American people. And as I've said in previous videos, in my opinion, veterans, active veterans. Joe Kent in Washington, he's one guy that I always keep bringing up and who I have actually donated to. Why have I donated to this guy who's all the way up in Washington? Why am I not just concentrating on donating to my local candidates in my state, in my local area? It's because, as we know, as the Senate goes and as the House of Representatives go, the majority, right? The majority takes over, and they're the ones that are running this country. So it's up to us to go ahead and donate to people across the country to try to help them, because we know, right? So I want to make it clear on this channel. We know the Republicans and the Democrats are just going to vote pretty much across their party lines. Maybe not in this election, because Joe Biden is doing so bad and the Democrats are doing so bad in their decision making and causing all this pain. I could possibly see a bunch of Democrats voting across party lines, and hopefully they'll even change parties. I'm hoping we see a blue wave come over to the red side of the party, because the Democrats have totally left the middle class people. They've left them out in the cold. And so the Democrats used to be for the middle class mainstream. No longer, it's the Republicans. And so we need to wake up to that fact. Now, like I started this video of saying in the George Washington farewell address, there doesn't even need to be a political party. And the way to dissolve political parties is if we, the people, go ahead and just all become independents. Every one of us. If we just leave a few fringes in the Republicans and the Democrats, but we all leave the political affiliations that you have and come over and be an independent voter and vote your conscience and be a common sense voter and not just along party lines. Because like I keep saying, I used to vote Democrat right across the board. I felt like when Bill Clinton was in office, he was very fiscally responsible. He really brought down the debt, and he was really helping this country. Now, it took him in his second term to do that, to wake up, but he did it. And so, you know, that was kind of like the last guy that I really felt like was in the Democratic Party that was doing the right thing for the country, not just his party. He was doing the right thing for the country. And you know, I'll tell you, I don't want to say this to try to sway the election, and I don't trust Joe Biden one minute bit. But the thing is, sometimes when presidents get into their second term, they know they can't be reelected again, so they just pretty much hopefully do the right thing. I do not see Joe Biden. First of all, I don't think he has the mental capacity to do that. You can see a lot of the things on the outtakes that you see on television. He doesn't have the wherewithal to be able to even go for another 4 years, right? But we don't want to elect somebody else, especially Kamala Harris, but we don't even know who we can see coming up in the Democratic Party who could even think about becoming president. So again, this video, I want to just say, is all about trying to dissolve Republicans and Democrats and everybody. Let's bring the independent voter and make it the independent party, right? So let's grow this independent party. Let's get away from politics. Let's get away from being a Republican, being a Democrat. Politics is what's killing this country. Partisan politics especially is what's killing this country. We have to get away from that. What is the solution? The solution is become an independent voter. So I'm begging Republicans, I'm begging Democrats, join the independent movement, join the independent party, and let's get rid of politics, partisan politics. Let's just be done with it and be independent. I told you I was going to keep this video short, and I'm going to be true to my word. That's the last word, but that's not the last time you're going to hear me talk about trying to get rid of the parties, trying to bring everybody on board. So I'm not just about complaining about things. I always have the idea that don't complain to me about a problem. Bring me a solution. Tell me a solution. Think of a solution. If you're going to complain about something, come up with a solution as well. And that's my solution to this political partisanship, right? And everybody become an independent voter. So let's get a movement going. Let's try to get everybody on board with being an independent voter. Register as an independent voter. Let's try to build that independent voter into a party, and where we all can elect from a common sense standpoint on who we want in government. Thanks so much for watching. If you're not yet a subscriber, please go ahead and hit that subscriber button and the notification icon. Let's go ahead and get a chat going. I'd love to see what your comments are about what I just said about bringing everybody into the independent voter realm and get rid of partisan politics. We need to get rid of it, and that's the way to do it. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.